Hi, I'm Kara and I'm going to share my reflections for the finals of our subject History 10, Life and Works of Rizal. So the first topic that I'm going to share is the Rizal, Talisman for National Stupidity. Rizal appears to have had the same destiny as the majority of well-known people who are idolized yet have no exceptional value. His words have been appropriated by politicians and unimpressive government employees to express their dull thoughts in poetic words. His personal experiences have been transformed into the basis of anecdote that may be used to prove whatever absurdly trivial virtue that a member of our mediocre elite would like to espouse. Rizal has come to symbolize the idiocy of the nation. As a result, in addition to our admiration for him, there appears to be a sense of disdain for all the characteristics and attributes that are being attached to him. All notable historical figures eventually succumb to popular imagination and continue to exist in alternate timelines. The elevation of Rizal as a magical folk hero and a cause of innumerable miraculous events is arguably the biggest paradox of his legacy. Some people contend that he is an immortal who lived to see his execution and is still with us now. Numerous religious groups that go by the names Rizalistas or Rizalians assert that he is the Christ incarnate. This mystical mythology makes one wonder what Rizal, whose most well-known sculpture is named the Triumph Signs over Death, would have thought of it. The philocracy was to be overthrown, according to Rizal, not with physical force but rather with education. The ability to read and speak in the languages of authority was a tool against church ignorance and obscurantism. But mastery has many uses. It can be a cloak to shield the interest of the wealthy or a charm to give the weak confidence. Rizal's claim to be a revolutionary call for a deeper understanding of his philosophy and writings than has been previously provided in popular history. There is no denying that Rizal started out as a reformist, just like so many others, but as he grew, his beliefs adjusted to take into account the circumstances. Our society's incapacity to view history as a narrative continues to be a major weakness. We commonly extrapolate the mindsets of one time period onto another, failing to see progress and change. We view our past as static and unchanging. So the next reflection is about the Claro M. Recto and the Rizal Bill, the Rizal Law RA 1425 and its predicament. The RA amendment, the year 1425, was chosen specifically for future generations to explore, consider, and remember Dr. Rizal's commitment to the principles of independence and nationalism. The aforementioned bill has faced controversy because some believe it will harm priests. Since the two novels are merely novels, in my opinion, they have the right to voice their opposition to the bill. This indicates that it is a work of superb poetry and literature by Jose Rizal, and it's possible that they misunderstood the bill's objectives, which indicate that Jose Rizal's life and works are meant to foster morality, the self-discipline, and civic conscience. On the other hand, opponents of the law said that it violated Article Section 1, Paragraph 7 of the Constitution because it ran counter to the students' religious and philosophical views. But in my opinion, it does not ultimately violate the clause because the measure neither denies nor forbids any of the students' rights. Additionally, the RA, instead of indoctrinating Christian views, 1425 promotes nationalism and patriotism among young people. The law was intended to inspire patriotism in young people's minds, particularly during their formative years in school. It was not intended to influence students' opinions in a misleading manner. Additionally, it aims to instill in the pupils an attitude of nationalism, responsible civil obligations, and a proper use of freedom of expression. In remembrance of the heroes who fought and sacrificed their lives for independence, The Rizal Law pays particular tribute to the lives and works of the heroes who helped to shape the character of our country. So the next reflection is the No Limitangere. So this book's title, No Limitangere, is a translation of the Filipino phrase, "Huwag mo akong salingin." In the year 1884, Jose Rizal, our country's national hero, authored this book while studying medicine in Madrid. He traveled to Paris to continue writing this novel after completing his course in medicine there. Jose Rizal completed the final section of Noli in Berlin. Jose Rizal's negative experiences with the Spanish are brought to our attention in this book. Our national hero intentionally intended to write this book with the assistance of his fellow countrymen who were suffering at the hands of the Spanish. But he unexpectedly failed to do so because his fellow citizens lost hope in realizing their dreams of freedom at the hands of the Spanish colonizers. Without the assistance of his fellow Filipinos, Jose Rizal persisted in finishing this book and made the decision to pen it all by himself. This book's opening chapter was named Ang Paging, the lifestyle of Don Santiago de los Santos, also known as Capitan Tiago, was described in this chapter. According to this chapter, he was Maria Clara's stepfather and a native Binondo. The other characters included Teniente Guevara, Padre Damaso, and Padre Sibayla. This chapter claims that Capitan Tiago invited the aforementioned individuals to his home for a casual get-together, but things quickly descended into a fight between Padre Damaso and Teniente Guevara. The conflict between the two was ended by Padre Sibayla. Ang Binatang si Cristomo was the title of the second chapter, and in this chapter, Capitan Tiago sent the priest a gift from Don Crisostomo Ibarra, the son of Don Rafael Ibarra, a friend who had passed away. The subsequent chapters were equally excellent since they challenged the central theme of the book. I was astounded by the poeticism that Rizal infused into each word and syllable of the novel. The story's underlying message is one of love, not just romantic love, but also love of one's family and nation. I've learned about love for the family and love for the nation as a Filipino. The affection that Crisostomo Ibarra had for his father served as an example of paternal love when he realized his father's burial had been unfairly treated. Well, if I were on Crisostomo's side, I would bestow the blessings of what my fathers deserved, right up until the moment of his death. Of what my father deserved, a respectable final burial. Another is Isa's devotion to her sons, Basilio and Crispin, whom she continued to think of right up until the moment of her death. I came to understand that family love is surely unconditional. More problems with our political systems are as shady as a man who was never admitting anything in his life. I feel bad for our political pioneers because they are pioneers, because they represent the general public and are respected by the general public. But ultimately, it turns out that the lie that money is the root of all deceit has destroyed our forefathers who need to review their Rizal course. These difficulties need to be addressed as soon as possible because if they are not, we won't be able to provide a bright new morning to all future Filipinos and even to future people. The problems from the past and the present must be resolved. I firmly believe that the innermost things comes in little packages. And if every student who enrolls in the Rizal course remembers all the teachings they have learned, the Philippines will soon be able to open the door that has been closed to a brand new country, the Philippines. So the next topic is the El Filibustrismo. This book gives life lessons and insight for those who are learning and young. By examining what transpired in the novel while Spain was a colony, we can still apply it to present circumstances and to ourselves. No matter how outdated or out of date something may be, although we may have been freed from captivity, we are still unable to learn the truth about our government. Contrary to what they claim to be, many public employees are greedy and dishonest. Although revolution is not the solution, Dr. Jose Rizal, in my opinion, wants us to realize that it can help us go closer to gaining our independence because no one will be harmed. A peaceful conflict is a great approach to settle one. Similar to how they do it now, protest and peacefully expressing one's rights and demands have the power to change some people's minds. Our country must change and we must use intelligence when it comes to voting. Otherwise, our time, money, and faith in our leader will be wasted. The protection of this genre of writing can inspire people to act in advance. They can identify with the character situations of life, families, and a variety of other things just based on the point of view, making it significantly more artistic would draw in a wider audience, and it would be very advantageous for those who don't prefer reading to hear and watch this story as well. A book written by Dr. Jose Rizal, the national hero of our nation. The government during the Spanish colonization, which illustrates the sufferings of the Filipino people as the Spaniards governed our land, grew corrupt due to their practices and teachings of the latter, and thus population unaware of the reality as a result. Dr. Jose Rizal's book El Filibusterismo served as a warning to his contemporaries that revolution appeared to be the only way to put an end to the Spanish slave trade. After reading this poem, you can infer that words have the power to crush anyone's sense of self-importance, and there are other weapons that words have the weapons beside the sword that can piece steel armor. It won't kill you, but the wound it leaves behind will slowly consume you. I'm sure I'll go wild with rage and hatred, and with their words. The impact on the foe was fairly minimal despite not being a direct participant in the conflict. The book El Filibusterismo is about the global struggle for liberty. So the next one is The Vision of Father Rodriguez. Jose Rizal, upon a receipt of the news concerning Fray Rodriguez's bitter attack on his novel Noli Me Tangere, wrote this defense under his pseudonym Dimas Alang, published in Barcelona. It is a satire depicting a spirited dialogue between the Catholic Saint Augustine and Rodriguez. Augustine, in the fiction, told Rodriguez that he, Augustine, was commissioned by God to tell him Rodriguez of his stupidity and his penance on earth, that he, Rodriguez, of his stupidity and his penance on earth, that he, Rodriguez, shall continue to write more stupidity so that all men may laugh at him. In this pamphlet, Rizal demonstrated his profound knowledge in religion and his biting satire. Sadly, stereotypes have become the standards in today's culture, where many people are aware of the harm they may do to the neighborhood. Every day, individuals criticize or make comments about someone based on the persona they present or the deeds they commit. Children are being compared to one another, and teenagers are making comments and receiving criticism for not fitting in. Whether we put in too much effort or do enough, we are judged. We encounter situations where we are evaluated based on the hues of our skin rather than our beauty of our hearts, which much too frequently. It seems that we automatically think that people aren't exactly how they ought to be a variety of reasons. It seems like we're always looking for anything to criticize in others to make up of our own lack of confidence, which only serves to highlight how awful our society has become. Ironically, the majority of this society we claim is made out of ourselves. We are accountable, that is the icy, harshy truth. From young, we are used to partake in light gossips, and that our friends, teachers, people we personally knew, to strangers we've never even met before. But when a gossip turns vicious, the outcome can be painful, eventually leading to predicted psychological and, in extreme circumstances, identity crisis. Jumping to assumptions without understanding someone's past has affected how we respond and behave in one way or another today. What is it about someone that gives us the impression that we have the right to label them as healthy, slothful, or weak? If we had the opportunity to get to know someone, we probably would comprehend why people act the way they do today. Judging someone defines the kind of person you are rather than who they are. By doing this, we silence their inner voice and prevent them from discovering who they really are. This stems from a lack of acceptance and understanding, as well as from narrow-mindedness and general herd behavior. We think it is okay to deny people the acceptance we long for because we are fed by false notions. So, by telephone. Por Telefono or By Telephone is a play written by Philippine national hero Jose Rizal. It discusses social issues and plans for the Philippines by two friars. It was published in 1889 as a reply to a friar named Father Salvador Font in connection to his discrimination about Noli Me Tangere and for initiating the banning of Noli in the fall of 1889. The first pamphlet was printed in Barcelona under the authorship of Dimas Alang. Por Telefono is a satirical comedy about Father Font, who was at Madrid speaking with a provincial priest in San Agustin Monastery using a telephone line that is spearheaded by the transoceanic telephone co. Por Telefono is full of symbolism. It unveils how friars live their lives and how they give thanks for the donations given by Ilustrados. Every line that has been uttered in Madrid is like an echo that fills the corners of the Philippines. In my opinion, bullying is type of verbal and physical harassment. As the bullying goes on, it can occasionally cause sadness, suicidal thoughts, and self-doubt. Bullies intentionally injure others by saying and doing hurtful things. Bullying can happen to anybody, including adults, and anyone can bully. Bullies occasionally experience tension or anger but unable to show it, making another person endure their suffering. In my opinion, insults constitute bullying. Everything hurts, even the little things. It's challenging to comprehend the bully's motivations because we all just believe that they are disrespectful when they were hurting most of the time. An instance of bullying was when my acquaintance was made fun due to her size. It wasn't until later that I learned about it. I've seen it happen numerous times, so I know it has happened. Although I'm not proud of it, I was afraid of intervening and being a victim of bullying myself. Bullying isn't always obvious to us. Sometimes it happens right in front of us without our knowledge. It might be difficult to move past the things that others say. Typically, you continue to worry about them for days. I could tell my pal was hurting. Once something is spoken to cause someone to think something about themselves, it is difficult to change those thoughts. While we can stop all bullying, we can stop it from occurring so frequently. As I have stated, bullies typically just need someone to talk to. They need someone to vent their fury they need someone to vent their fury on because they have kept it inside for such a long time. I sincerely don't know all the motivation behind bullying, but I am aware that rage is a difficult emotion to contain. A school counselor can always keep an eye on the behavior of the students, try to convey to them that discussing bullying with someone is acceptable. Children find it difficult to inform adults of what is going on because they fear getting into trouble. Therefore, it is not an alternative to tell an adult. Being an upstander is always an option, as opposed to being a bystander. Bullying may always be stopped by reporting it. I am aware that it might be difficult for some individuals, including myself, to speak up in some circumstances, but doing so is one way bullying can be reduced. I will ask them how they are feeling and give them a chance to express their sadness and anger before they do so negatively. We should all ask if we are doing the best we can because I can speak to everyone. Also ask yourself if you are doing the best you can. Bullying is a global problem and we can all benefit from everyone's assistance. Rizal's letter to Father Pastels. In the phrase of number 5, it stated, I deeply appreciate your desire to enlighten me and illumine my path, but I fear it is a useless task, lest I make you waste your time. I rather tell you now, let us leave to God the things that are God's and to make men the things that are men's. As your reverence says, the return to the faith is God's work. The Philippines takes great pride in being the sole Christian country in Asia. Roman Catholicism makes up more than 86% of the population. Nationalistic cults makes up 6% and more than 100 Protestant denominations make up another 2%. A pantheon of gods, spirits, creatures, and men who watch over the rivers, farms, trees, mountains, and woods and homes made up the pre-Hispanic belief system of the Filipino people. But Hala was superior to these other gods and spirits since he created the earth and man. Regular prayers and sacrifices were made to appease the spirits and deities, some of which were were good and others of which were evil. No distinction was established between the ancestral spirit and their physical emblem, which was fashioned of wood and metal. Depending on how one behaved in this life, one can receive rewards or punishment after death. A distinguishing element of the way many people live and make decisions is religion, or a structured system of beliefs that typically relate to one's faith and trust in a high power. Religious beliefs can influence many decisions decisions a person makes in life, but when such decisions conflict with religious principle, it can be challenging to reconcile the two, which can lead to uncertainty and sorrow. The way a person's lives and experiences life can be greatly influenced by their religious beliefs. Many aspects of a religious person's life may at least likely be influenced by their beliefs. A person may come to faith as a consequence of personal exploration or in accordance with childhood convictions. Due to their religious beliefs, certain people may face persecution or discrimination. Others could feel compelled to preserve certain ideals even when they conflict with their personal values because they were forced to by family, close friends, or romantic partners. People may select a life partner through their church or decide to get married and start a family depending on their religious views and values. A person's belief system may also have an impact, either positively or badly, on their friendships or connections with family members. Many people find peace and consolation in their religious beliefs. They could discover that having faith in a high power gives their lives purpose and gives them a set of moral principles to live by. Some people may find it simpler to deal with difficulties in life and to show compassion to others if they have a religious belief. However, some religions may stray from their stated philosophy, follow rules that may be detrimental to one's mental or physical health, or forbid people from expressing particular aspects of their nature. When this happens, a person could start to wonder or question certain tenets of their faith, which can cause them emotional and mental anguish. That's all. Thank you.